Hello and welcome to Boomer11 once again for another podcast. And today we are here with a new and exciting podcast. But before we get into it, do not forget to check out our app on Google Play Store and Apple App Store. This is an opportunity to check it out. You can try out the premium contest with Boomer11, where you can buy something and enter a premium contest or fantasy feature, or you can try out our free to play fantasy feature with Boomer11. And also check out our predictor feature, which is an all new feature where you can predict your guesses and win a lot of prizes. Today's topic is a very interesting one because we are going to be talking about two stalwarts of cricket. One is a current modern generation legend, you can say so. Another one, definitely a legend who goes in the Hall of Fame. It is none other than Yuvraj Singh and Ben Stokes. So today the topic is all about who is a bigger clutch player who can possibly deliver at the most important occasions, because the word clutch has been used more often than not in our daily lives these days. But here I have Sandeepani with me to talk about it. Sandeepani, welcome on the show. And I just want to ask you the first and important question. According to you, in your opinion, who is a bigger clutch player? Because Yuvraj Singh, in one end, has achieved it all. Won a World Cup for India in 2007 with his batting performance, in 2011 with his all-round performance. Ben Stokes in 2019 with his all-round performance, and 2022 in the final, you can say, with a sheer batting performance. These both always deliver in the big occasions. In your opinion, who's got it all? Who can take the last rights? You can say so.
I think it's very difficult to separate the two, and I think both of them have won their teams the World Cup almost single-handedly, or not even if you say single-handedly. I think come the clutch situations when the team needed them the most, they turned out to do the job for them. If you would consider both their campaigns, Yuvraj Singh in the 2007 T20 World Cup has been a similar trajectory to that of Ben Stokes in 2022 T20 World Cup. Similarly, Yuvraj Singh, the guy, the man of the moment in 2011 World Cup, Ben Stokes being there for the England team in the 2019 World Cup. But I think Yuvraj Singh, given the scenario, given it was a very new competition back then, I think Yuvraj Singh for me is the more clutch player. But talk about greats in this generation, I think nobody can surpass Ben Stokes in terms of all-round ability.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a good one. You put it right up to start off with. But if you have to just pick out a player to win a World Cup for you, just primarily on that, and it's always been the toughest. You can have one all rounder. I mean, both of them are different kinds of all rounder. One is a spin bowling all rounder, another is a pace bowling all rounder, possibly the best pace bowling all rounder of this generation. One player, if you have to just have a number five to come out there and save your team from the biggest of this situation, is it Yuvraj or Ben Stokes for you?
Right now, I think I'll go with Ben Stokes because I think over the years, the amount of contribution that he has had for this England team, with the Indian team as well, Yuvraj Singh was very instrumental. But some of his successes will have to give. It was more of a team credit when Yuvraj used to perform for India, because you had the likes of Sachin Tendulkar, Gautam Gambhir, Virendra Sehwag assisting with the bat, and with the ball you had Zahir Khan, Harbhajan Singh always coming up and doing the job. But if you compare this England team, England white ball team, you don't have such big names along with Ben Stokes. You probably have a Joe Root, who is one in a generation talent like Virat Kohli or a Babar Azam in the current times. But if you talk about this England team, apart from Joe Root, you haven't had that one successful player who has had that longevity that a Ben Stokes has had. So I think Ben Stokes, just because of that, he has been that one player who has helped England win single-handedly, win games in the Ashes, win the ODI World Cup, win the T20I World Cup. So I think right now Ben Stokes best all-rounder in the world.
Absolutely. Maybe let's look at a statistical breakdown, maybe to understand who possibly takes it all. Let's start off with the one day World Cup, because the batting performance is the most important thing in the one day World Cup. If you look in 2011, we have taken the two best World Cups where they both have been crowned the champions. Ben Stokes in 2019, 465 runs with the bat, and obviously, at a striker of 93, which includes a brilliant knock in the final. Yuvraj Singh, 362 runs with the bat, obviously won four man of the matches throughout that particular journey, and 90 is his average because he remained not out more often than not in that particular World Cup journey. I mean, if I were to figuratively pick or statistically pick up a batting performance, you have to say numbers wise, when it comes to the most important occasion. I know Yuvraj remained not out even in the World Cup final, but under pressure, that Ben Stokes' knock in the final could be a clutch moment for you, isn't it?
Yeah, because not just the ODI World Cup we are talking about. about the ODI World Cup, but even Ben Stokes' performance in the T20I World Cup as well. The final, Ben Stokes is is really really dangerous, because even if he's totally out of form throughout the series, or if he hasn't had a brilliant purple patch with the bat, he can just come in that one game, come the pressure situation, Ben Stokes steps up, and that makes him a key differentiator among the two teams. And I think that is why only in that aspect he edges Yuvraj Singh, who has been far more consistent than Ben Stokes throughout his career. Because if you see Yuvraj Singh's performance throughout his career, and if you just pick that snippet, you could see an average of 90 in the 2011 ODI World Cup, because he had been not out on numerous occasions. That means he was dismissed only 4 times out of 10, 9 innings. So that is 5 not out
Absolutely.
knocks, and he had 550 plus scores in that tournament as well, and half century in the quarterfinals. In the semifinals as well, he didn't really get off with the bat, but with the ball he picked up a crucial wicket. And in the finals as well, you if you compare, he was there with MS Dhoni till the end to see his team home. But then again, Ben
Absolutely.
Stokes, 7 needed of 2 runs. You won't go to Yuvraj Singh to sort of put the pressure and get the job done. You'll go to Ben Stokes and he'll get the job done for you.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why go to the bowling performance as well, because when you talk about Yuvraj and Ben Stokes, a complete package, and that's so hard for me. Even for me personally, I would say when it comes to batting performance, it's hard to separate the both. If I have to just pick Ben Stokes based on the final innings, of course, I'll just tend towards Ben Stokes because of what happened. Even there, that ball deflecting off the bat while he was making that run, a lot of factors that you have to count in that. And then Ben Stokes coming to bat, even in the super over, there's a lot of pressure situation there for Yuvraj Singh, especially after Gautam Gambhir's wicket, to walk into that final to make sure there was another wicket which was fallen. And he did not really perform in the semi final of the World Cup. Maybe just based on that, but quarterfinal, remember, against Australia, chips were down. You were under tremendous pressure for him to come and play one of the best knocks to take you over the line against a strong Australian bowling attack. That's where it's hard to separate the both. For me, it is a 50-50 at this point, at least on batting stats, because both perform when your teams were in pressure. I mean, you can say Yuvraj scored against Ireland, Yuvraj scored against Netherlands, but Australia was hard. West Indies, I mean, you can say you were almost qualified, but then in that Chennai wicket, given the fact he was tested for cancer,
Yeah.
remember, let's keep this
and
in mind
and
as well.
and also you have to remember, Sachin Tendulkar got out really early in that West Indies game, so you had to put pressure on this West Indian attack, and Yuvraj Singh did it perfectly. Scoring a century on that Chennai track was difficult, indeed.
And look at the weather, look at everything. Rampal was all around India. And just to do that, that was just brilliant, I would say. But that's where we'll come to the bowling stats. Because remember, Yuvraj not really performed with the bat in that semi-final, but with the ball, even in that semi-final, Yuvraj was where he came in very handy with the bat, with the ball, especially. With the bat, of course, you can say so. Yeah, it was not the best when it comes to the performance with the bat, because he did falter. I think Wahab Riaz was on a high
Yeah,
that day, and then he picked up Yuvraj for not, if I remember. He was
yeah, yeah,
dismissed
yeah.
for no
Yuvraj
run.
was dismissed for not. Yeah,
And for Ben Stokes in that World Cup semi-final, he not really get to bat because he was dismissed pretty early on in that. You not get to bat rather than being
yeah, yeah.
dismissed. So it was a 9 wicket or a 10 wicket win which England had in that World Cup semi-final. Now that's why we'll go for this particular stat, which is the bowling stat. Now here's where Yuvraj Singh really takes a leap ahead when it comes to his bowling performance. Dhoni, yes, he played with 4 major bowlers and 1 all-rounder throughout the World Cup. That was Yuvraj Singh. He was the fifth bowling option alongside Yusuf Pathan, Suresh Raina, Virendra Sehwag, and Sachin Tendulkar at times. So you have the 15 wickets and 362 runs. That's a massive contribution. You pick up 15 wickets for a major bowler. That's a very good World Cup. Now, you're talking about a left arm spinner in that World Cup, considering he had a very, very poor run leading into that World Cup. Talk about that games. Every time when you needed a wicket, especially that 5 wicket all against Ireland stands out. The wickets he picked up against Pakistan stands out. Even in that World Cup final, he came and picked up a wicket here or there. So
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about. Yuvraj Singh with the ball was whole nother gravy throughout that entire 2011 World Cup.
Yeah, and I think Zahir Khan, I think, was the leading highest wicket taker along with Afridi, some 21 wickets in the World Cup.
Yeah,
But
21
Yuvraj
wickets.
Singh, 15 scalps, and a fifth bowling option to come in and give you 15 wickets, and especially in the finals as well. Sangakkara and Mahila Jayawardene were building a great partnership, and they were going on to take the game away from the Indian team with another Sangakkara Jayawardene classic. And Sangakkara was dismissed by Yuvraj Singh. come Ireland, getting them all out for 200 odd runs. Even in the game against Pakistan, coming in, picking up Umar Akmal, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, I mean he just came in and delivered when the team needed him with the ball. So I think when you talk about performances with the ball, across all formats, even in the T20s or the ODI World Cups, especially for Team India, I think Yuvraj Singh has been more instrumental than Ben Stokes, because Ben Stokes, come the clutch situations, has done a brilliant job with the bat. With the ball, he usually plays the second or third fiddle, stays quiet, just assists some of the other bowlers. If Mark Wood is in form or Chris Wokes is in form, he'll just
Yeah.
assist them. Stem the run flow from one end. But Yuvraj Singh was a perfect wicket-taking option, because with the Indian team, often the opposition, when you're playing in home conditions in the 2011 World Cup that I'm talking about, people tend to attack the fifth bowling option. So a lot of people were trying to take the attack on Yuvraj Singh, and that is when he becomes so dangerous. His accuracy and line and length. So I think I definitely think Yuvraj Singh was by far a better contributor with the ball in the success of the Indian team in 2011 World Cup than Ben Stokes in
Absolutely.
2019 World Cup.
Now, this is where another stat which is very interesting. Now, let's go to the T20 format, because this is where Yuvraj Singh really holds the ace. I mean, we talk about big tournament. Now, Ben Stokes is only 50 came in that World Cup final. I mean, what a better time for 50 to come, isn't it? Because until then, he never had a T20 I 50. Now, how many people will ever believe it? Yes, he never had a T20 50 until then. Then you have to bring up his T20 World Cup stats. Now, for Yuvraj Singh, you would say he had a very decent, he had an ordinary T20 World Cup, barring some of the big performance. Now, let's talk about that semi final which he had, uh, especially when it comes to batting. That semi final of
Yeah.
70, which he had against Australia, that was a very good knock. Now, for Ben Stokes, you would say 2016 was a better World Cup for Ben Stokes in terms of his performance. But if you have to talk about the T20 World Cup that England has gone on to win, the most important knock came in the final. Now, that is where Yuvraj Singh and Ben Stokes really stand out. For India, it was a must-win game against England where Yuvraj Singh went on to smash a 12 ball 50. For England, talk about that big situation. Ben Stokes walks in and does a redemption, after having that debacle which he had in 2016 against Carlos Brathwaite.
Exactly, and I think Yuvraj Singh in the 2007 T20 World Cup, if you just take out the scores of 70 and 57 that he had against England and Australia, I think you will just have 21 runs in the other three innings that he played. So it was just about those two innings, but the two innings came when India needed it the most. The game against England was a knockout game. India needed to win that. Six balls, six sixes against Stuart Broad in the penultimate over. Never easy, never easy. And the way he played, smashed his way into that 30 ball 70 run knock against Australia, who were a dominant force in 2007. I mean, they lost to Zimbabwe in that T20 World Cup, but that
Yeah.
team had Matthew Hayden, Adam Gilchrist, Ricky Ponting, all the greats who were playing the T20I format as well. And it was this young Indian side where you had Robin Uthappa, Dinesh Karthik, with Rohit Sharma, with not too much of experience coming in the middle order for Team India. So that knock from Yuvraj Singh, 70 runs of 30 balls, was the differentiator in the semi-finals, and I think that allowed India to go to the finals against Pakistan, where Yuvraj Singh's performance was not really, I mean, not he couldn't really excel in the finals, but the way he led the foundation for India making it to the finals, it was breathtaking to see. And India were in
Absolutely.
pressure, 41 runs, 42 runs in 8 overs, to land on and score 170, 187 against Australia is a huge feat. And all
Absolutely. That
thanks to
knock
that
was
5 over 70 runs knock.
That knock was knock for the ages, one of the best knocks played in a semi-final of a World Cup by an Indian. And that's what we miss these days for India. They're looking for clutch players in big situations. And since Yuvraj Singh's retirement, we've not been able to find a clutch player. And finally, we can bring the bowling
Yeah.
performance. But I think bowling performance, Ben Stokes is slightly ahead because of this better contributions in the 2022 World Cup. He was able to come
Yeah,
in and
because Yuvraj Singh was not really utilized with the ball in the
yeah.
2007 T20 World Cup. Dhoni utilized him really well in the 2012 T20 World Cup, where he went on to pick some 8 wickets
But
in the
that, that
campaign.
that also happened at the stage where he was able to do a lot better after the T20
Yeah,
World Cup, after the 50 over World Cup which he had.
ODI
So
World Cup. Yeah.
that's where his worth became even more, stocks rose up in terms of the credentials. And if you talk about the two debacles in these both players' careers, one you have to be talking about Ben Stokes' 19 run last over, which you consider as West Indies, and Yuvraj Singh's 11 runs for 22 balls. So the trajectory in terms of having a bad hand in the final is also very similar. but at the same time, their clutch performances are also very similar. But in T20, you would still say Yuvraj Singh a better player than Ben Stokes if you look at his overall stats, because Ben Stokes, yeah, he's performed in leagues, but in T20 internationals, at least Yuvraj Singh holds aces for playing those big knocks.
Definitely, definitely. And I think Yuvraj Singh was that X factor player which the opposition was afraid of at the start of a game. After those performances against Australia and England, people were afraid to bowl against Yuvraj Singh in clutch situations in the T20 format, especially because of his six hitting ability and the prowess of taking the game away in a fraction of 2-3 overs.
Yeah,
So in that way, I think Yuvraj Singh is a by far a more dominant player in the T20 international format. Having said that, I think Ben Stokes has had his fair share of success come the 2022 T20 World Cup. You spoke about the debacles in their careers, but I think it came in different stages for both the players. Yuvraj
yeah,
Singh was at the twilight phase of his career. It was the dusk of his playing career,
yeah,
whereas Ben Stokes was a rising star back then in 2016. So the redemption story of Ben Stokes is probably one of the greatest. But I think in terms of T20I dominance and leading a team into ICC World Championship glory, I think Yuvraj Singh for Team India, the X Factor contribution that he had with the bat in
I'd
2007 T20
say,
World Cup was more.
just to end it, these both have a different trajectory in terms of their rose to stardom and the fall as well. Because Yuvraj Singh came to stardom very quickly. He never faced a lot of
Yeah.
failures. He was there with success straight up, a special champions trophy in Nairobi, or let it come to 2003, the World Cup, or the NatFest trophy, or 2007 World Cup. You have to say Yuvraj Singh was right up there when it comes to
Yeah.
him getting that stardom straight up. But Ben Stokes, 2013, 2014, 2015, he was down the drums. And 2016,
Yeah.
maybe after the T20 World Cup loss, nobody really cared about him. But that's where Ben Stokes really came on his own, won them the 2019 World Cup, the Ashes, that Edgbaston knock, or let's talk about that World Cup final knock. Ben Stokes has got his moments when it comes to his
But I think if
redemption.
you talk about consistency, I think Yuvraj Singh has been the dominator, more dominant player, and because he has done it over 2 decades almost. Because talk about 2000, and he finally hung up his boots in 2017 after the ODI. And that too, he smashed a 150 against England
Yeah,
towards his latest phase of his career. So I think Yuvraj Singh has been dominant over a long period of time. But clutch situations, I think Ben Stokes is the better player all round because of his all round abilities. And not to forget about the fielding prowess of both Yuvraj and Ben Stokes as well. If you
yeah.
just take out the batting and bowling prowess, I think they can win games just because of their fielding ability as well.
Yeah, if you remember that World Cup final, India saved close to 40 runs on the park, on the point with Dilshan and Upul Taranga. They were put under so much of pressure straight away because of that point fielding by Yuvraj Singh and Suresh Raina and cover point and Yuvraj in point. That saved India a lot of runs. So just talk about that factor as well before we end it. But yeah, if you have to pick a player, it's hard to pick one. But if I have to just be biased, I'll say Yuvraj Singh as my go-to clutch player because India has been having a hole since Yuvraj has gone away, and we have not been able to find a replacement at number 5, number 4 for India, and that's why I just go Yuvraj Singh. Finally, your thoughts? Who would you pick?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you that is a very very valid point because once Yuvraj Singh went away and Suresh Raina decided not to play too much of limited overs cricket or he was not picked for ODI and the T20F series, you could see that there was a big hole in that middle order which we haven't been able to fill since I mean as late as today itself
2014,
because you don't have
2015,
a
yeah,
yeah, because you don't have a proper middle order who can depend on. Yuvraj Singh did that, had that dependability for 10-15 years. Suresh Raina had that for 5 to 6 years. But since then, I think India have not really found it. And just because of that reason, I think I'll have to go with Yuvraj Singh just because he was that one in a generational all-rounder for Team India. Because for England, you have lots of all-rounders, lots of players come in and then they sort of come in and can try to fill Ben Stokes' shoes. It won't be easy, but they can do the job for the England side. And that way, Yuvraj Singh was that one in a generation talent. You have Hardik Pandya, you have Ravindra Jadeja, who is sort of growing out, but I think they are still lower middle order batters. Jadeja, that is, and Hardik Pandya, I think he hasn't really earned that consistency with both bat and ball. He's also a clutch player, but not of Yuvraj Singh's level. But when you talk
yeah.
about this England team, you have lots and lots of all rounders. So just that point, and also being an Indian, being a little biased, I think Yuvraj Singh will take the cherry home for me.
Absolutely. So that's the end of it. And thank you for watching this podcast, everybody. And if you really did like it, do not forget to share and subscribe to our channel as well. And also stay tuned for more. So click on the bell icon so whenever we keep posting, you get that notification. And check out our app once again, the Boomer11 app. The link is there in the description, so you can come out and play the fantasy feature and also check out our predictive feature as well. This the Cricket World Cup, the Premier League season, and the Asia Cup as well. Stay tuned with us. Have a good time, all of you. See you all very soon. Bye bye.
Goodbye, guys.